Dalton, and today we're going to be talking about self-regulation in the classroom. Some of you might be wondering, what is self-regulation? And simply put, self-regulation is our ability to control our thoughts and our emotions and our behaviors and our reactions in the way that it relates to our environment. This would be resisting emotional outbursts when something makes us upset. It would be able to be staying on task, controlling our impulses, and learning how to calm ourselves when we feel worried or anxious. And also, another important part in the classroom of self-regulation is being able to transition from one thing to the next. So, why is self-regulation important? Self-regulation is a very important skill both in school and in life, and it is responsible for everything from being able to listen to other people, work with other people, stay on task, and also just being able to get along with other people, which is a very important part of school and in work. Without this skill, it's very difficult for children to get along with their peers and to stay on task. And so if none of those things, if self-regulation isn't in the classroom, then it can greatly decrease a child's learning capacity. So we're going to talk about how you can teach self-regulation in your class, and I'm going to give you some tips and tools. So the first thing you want to do is, let's say at the beginning of the year, or whenever there needs to be a reset in your classroom, you want to be very clear about what your rules and expectations are. Obviously, for younger students, you want them to be very simple. In my opinion, you want them to be simple for any age group. So you want them to be simple, and you need to go over them in plain detail and explain it, and you need to explain what is appropriate and what's not appropriate in your classroom. And then from there, you need to give them frequent reminders of what they are. So at the beginning of the school year, it might be going over the expectations several times a day until children understand the importance. A great way for kids to remember your expectation is to have them on large posters, like putting a large poster above your blackboard or your smartboard, and the kids will be able to see it all the time. Maybe put one on your door, maybe put one on your desk whenever the kids will come up, so they can just visually constantly be reminded. Another thing is that it's super important to set very clear schedules, and because many children thrive on a routine, and so it would be very important that you put everything that you're going to do that day and what time that's going to happen. This is giving children control by setting the schedule out, and this needs to happen at the beginning of the day. So like you could write when class starts, when you do math, when you do art, when you go to PE, when you have recess, when you have lunch, and this will greatly decrease their anxiety. Again, this would be great to have on a poster or a whiteboard, because schedules might change daily. So put it at the front of your classroom, put it at the back of your classroom, put it on the door. Yes. Another way that is super helpful, especially in young children, is using positive reinforcement. This is the act of rewarding a child when he or she completes a desired behavior as a means to increase the likelihood that they would choose that behavior again. It doesn't need to be something that's constant and a big deal. Simple things and simple reinforcements can really go a long way. For example, if a student is having a hard time meeting expectations or making appropriate choices, then maybe when you start to see them make the right choice and meet expectations, they can be the star of the day, or they could be the line leader or the door holder, or they could be the teacher's special helper. Also, I think that giving praise to that student in front of all their peers can really go a long way and really boost their self-confidence, which would in turn make them want to make better choices next time. So, the next thing is calming strategies. So there are a lot of calming strategies that you can use for when kids become dysregulated or anxious or nervous. One of one of the things that works really well is just simple deep breathing. It can really decrease anxiety. One of the tricks that I think is really cool is having a little bottle of bubbles that is set probably in what we're going to talk about in a minute, like in a calm down corner or something. And the student can go and they can pick up the bubbles and they can take a deep breath and blow it out. And that's teaching them to inhale and exhale. And eventually the goal would be that they don't even need the bubbles. They can just have a pretend one and blow their bubbles. Another really cool tool that a lot of children like is 5-finger breathing. So you're going to hold up 5 fingers, and every time you go up, you take a deep breath in, and then out, and then in, and then out. And you do that on all 5 fingers as many times as it takes for them to calm down. Another one is maybe having a really cool, pretty picture of a rainbow in your room, and you can also tell the kids to trace the rainbow with their finger and follow the pattern with their breathing. So, and do that for every color. It's really helpful. Okay, so this goes along with positive reinforcement, but a great way to bring calm and camaraderie to your classroom is to have a sticker chart. There might be some kids who need their own sticker chart for their own goals or whatever, but to have a class sticker chart will be very helpful. So like the kids can work together to make the right choices to create calmness in the classroom. So for example, if they line up quickly and quietly, if they stay quiet when you're talking, if they stay quiet on their bathroom breaks, if they stay quiet during circle time, if they clean up in a timely manner, all of those things would be reasons to give the class a sticker, and they can work together to meet that goal, and they could all decide on what that prize would be. For example, they could do a pizza party, an ice cream party, they could earn extra recess time. This is just a really good skill to teach children to work together, and it will they can teach their peers how to self-regulate, because there will definitely be kids in the classroom that need help self-regulating, and their peers are a great tool for that. Okay, another thing that is super good for self-regulation and bringing calmness and calming down anxiety is to have a calm down box. And this could be a box that's just set like in a safe place in your classroom, and it could have fidget toys in it. So for example, I have a picture of a fidget cube and a fidget spinner. Those are just some examples. There's lots of choices. And then you could have a stress ball that they could squeeze. They can even bring it back to their desk if that would help them while you're teaching. Also, it's good to have like some peppermints or something for them to suck on, or a little piece of gum where they can just go and calm down and collect themselves. Okay, one of my favorite things that I actually have in my classroom is a calm down corner. And this is a safe place in the classroom that children can go to simply regulate their emotions. Some things that you can put in your calm down corner are large posters that are very visual and colorful, happy, and it can remind them of what the appropriate emotions are and the appropriate way to react when you feel stressed or mad or whatever. Just have that visually there. You can have a beanbag for them to sit on. You could have more fidget toys, or you could put your calm down box in the calm down corner. It's super helpful if you can have your calm down corner in a place that is kind of dimly lit. Like in my classroom, we have like an extra small office, and that's like our calm down room or calm down corner. And we also have yoga balls that the kids can sit on or bounce on that can really help decrease their anxiety. So something that disrupts self-regulation in the classroom a lot is transitions. And according to murkylane.com, there are at least 18 transitions in a kindergarten classroom. So that is a lot of transitions, and that's just part of a school day, switching from subject to subject, and then going to lunch, taking a bathroom break, going to recess, going to specials, coming in and doing your morning work. It's just a lot of transitions. So those can be difficult. And so for the kids who have a very difficult time with transitions, the good news is that individual education plans are becoming much more normal and prevalent. And so as educators and as teachers and working with their parents, we can come up with plans where they won't have to do as many transitions. And yes, that means that maybe they would miss out on a few activities during the day, but in the long run, it's going to really help self-regulation. An example that I can think of would be if a child gets dysregulated when they go on the bathroom break with a bunch of children, and they start to make poor choices or they're not getting along with their peers, then it would be good to have an individual bathroom break for them. That might not work for very younger kids, but I think it can work. That's just an example of how you could remove a transition to aid in a kid's self-regulation. They say that self-regulation develops across lifespan, but there is a lot of evidence and a lot of research that says the first 5 years is really important for self-regulation. So there's been a lot of research that has started to focus more on preschools and early learning centers. Okay, so it says entry into kindergarten is a time when children experience challenges to their social, emotional, cognitive, and behavioral capacities. These demands engage self-regulation skills, and they can also contribute to the further development and successful transitions into the rest of their academics. And they say that if children can learn self-regulation younger, then they're more likely to be successful in their future academics. So it says that it's been studied by Corder and Timmons that children do better in transitions when they're in a smaller group versus a larger group. So, and it also shows that children show more response to self-regulation when they are in a play environment with the small group. So research on play and self-regulation is dominated by studies that examine children's socio-dynamic play. So this means that play with peers helps children think outside of themselves. They learn to work with other people. They learn to put aside their selfish desires or their impulses. And this is really such a good tool to practice self-regulation, and it will carry on into their future academics and their future grades, but also ultimately we want it to carry on into their life. And also I think about kids who are playing in just like a small group of 3 or 4 in a center or doing an activity. That's really, and they're not being supervised 100% of the time, and they're able to abide by the rules and all of that. Like, that is a great way to help them practice self-regulation. And so obviously at the beginning of the school year there might need to be more supervision, but our hope would be that as they go every day into these different centers, then they could work together in a small group and be successful at self-regulating. The last thing that I want to talk about is, as educators, we have to remember that each student is unique. Each student is coming from a different background. Each student is coming from a different family, a different socio-economic background, a different culture. And so not everything that we put into our classroom is going to work for every kid. And it will take time and it'll take effort, but being able to treat them all as individuals will help you develop a plan that will work for everyone, because each kid has their own strengths, their own weaknesses, and their own goals that they need to accomplish during that school year. So just always be mindful that yes, we can treat them as a whole, as a classroom, but also there's going to be those times where we need to treat them as individuals as well. So does anyone have any questions? And if not, I think that I will be able to send these slides to you guys so that you can refer back to them if you need any tips or reminders. Thank you.